Now, the first step in eradicating this crime is awareness. Go see Sound of Freedom.
And I've often felt it. I've sat there and I have felt the knife slipped firmly in between my shoulder blades and tried to have it shoved through the other side through my... It is. Yeah. The system is completely based on money. Yeah. The studio system. Yeah. To a degree, I think the way I hook into the system is based on money.
One of the most disturbing problems in our world today is human trafficking, and particularly the trafficking of children. Now, the first step in eradicating this crime is awareness.
For over 2 decades, Mel Gibson stayed dead quiet while Hollywood's wildest rumors swirled around him. But now, he's not just talking, he's dropping bombs. And the way he's doing it doesn't sound like a Hollywood fairy tale. It sounds like a straight-up horror script. On to Gibson, there's more than just glitz and glamour behind the curtain. He says an invisible network runs the entertainment world, stretching from music to movies. Built on dark rituals, shady deals, and things so disturbing you almost can't say them out loud without shivering. The real question is, why now? Why did Gibson stay silent for over 20 years, only to crack open the door today? What could have pushed him to finally break the silence and expose what he claims is the entertainment industry's deepest, darkest secret?
That some of your worst nightmares were real at the time, and you think, Now this is what I mean by actually, I had a whole bunch of weird paranoid suspicions about what the hell was going on because there was a lot of stuff I couldn't understand.
Right. Someone is stroking your it feels good.
One of the most disturbing problems in our world today is human trafficking, and particularly the trafficking of children.
Mel Gibson says Hollywood isn't the dream factory we've all been sold. According to him, it's more like a spider's web, where careers dangle in suspense, waiting for the next predator to strike. He describes a hidden hierarchy, a shadowy elite that hovers above the flashing cameras and red carpets, pulling the strings like a sinister game of chess. In his words, it's a world where demons wear designer shoes, and behind those award show smiles, bloody, terrifying deals are being sealed in silence. And here's the kicker. Gibson isn't just talking about greedy producers or shady contracts. No, he's hinting at something far darker. Something ritualistic. Something that forces us to re-examine every scandal we brushed off as just another rumor. The question is, how deep does this rabbit hole really go? And who exactly is Gibson pointing his finger at? Because when you connect the dots, one name instantly jumps out. Sean Diddy Combs. Once celebrated as the king who reshaped hip-hop, Diddy now finds himself facing charges so heavy they could lock him away for life. Prosecutors accuse him of running his empire like a mafia-style operation. Racketeering, coercion, and those infamous freak-offs. But let's be clear, these weren't just wild hotel parties. Insiders say they were staged displays of dominance, fueled by drugs, intimidation, and fear. Not fun, not casual, but orchestrated like a ritual of control. In fact, prosecutors even described Diddy in court documents as more of a director than a host, handing out instructions, controlling every move, and making sure everything was caught on camera. Insurance, in case anyone tried to talk. And suddenly, Gibson's words don't feel so cryptic anymore. Those warnings about demons in disguise, about power hidden behind polished smiles, could he have been trying to warn us all along? About men like Diddy?
Yeah, very, very hard. Very hard to be, you have to choose what level of integrity you're coming in at. And
hello there, I'm Eva Pilgrim. Thanks for streaming with us. Week 3 of testimony in the Sean Diddy Combs trial, starting with the music mogul's former assistant, Capricorn Clark, taking the...
A lot. Eva, she testified that Sean Combs at one point threatened to Kid Cudi after finding out that he began dating Cassie Ventura. But she talked about 3 distinct episodes as prosecutors today started to home in on one of the elements of the alleged racketeering conspiracy, and that's kidnapping. Capricorn Clark said in 2004 in New York, she was forced to take a lie detector test for 5 days straight on suspicion of stealing jewelry In 2008, she said Sean Combs charged at her and kept shoving her with his hand. She demonstrated for the jury until pushing her all the way out of his house in Miami Beach when she said that she hates it here and forced her out of the house. And then in 2011 in Los Angeles is when she says she was forced at gunpoint into a car to go to Kid Cudi's house because Sean Combs was very upset.
Aaron, Clark painted a picture of what it was like to work for Combs, saying she even had to take a lie detector test. Why did she have to do that?
This goes back to July 4th weekend in the Hamptons. Sean Combs was hosting one of his now famous white parties, and he was able to wear 3 very high-end pieces of jewelry loaned to him by Jacob the jeweler. And after the party, Capricorn Clark was supposed to take possession of the jewelry and bring it on a private plane to Miami Beach, where Combs was headed. And on her way to the airport, she realized the bag wasn't there, and she said that she suspected it was an inside job. But apparently Combs and one of his bodyguards, a guy by the name of Uncle Paulie, that's how he was known, ended up taking her to what would be the headquarters of Bad Boy Entertainment. At the time, it was on 40th Street and Broadway. This was going to move uptown into the upper 50s, but the building wasn't finished, and she recalled for the jury being taken to a dilapidated space. There was only a folding table and chairs, and she remembered a huge guy, 5 times her size, chain smoking, and hooking her up to a lie detector machine every day for 5 days straight, and threatening that if she failed the test, she'd be thrown into the East River.
Diddy's defense team isn't going down without a fight. They argue he's being unfairly targeted, dragged into court under a dusty old law pulled straight from the early 900s. They're pointing to the 1910 Mann Act, originally called the White Slave Traffic Act, claiming it's been historically weaponized against black men under the guise of protecting white women. According to his attorneys, no white celebrity has ever faced a prosecution this extreme. It's a bold claim, one that might have swayed public opinion decades ago. But in today's courtroom, the narrative is collapsing, because one by one, witnesses keep stepping up. They're describing marathon hotel lock-ins, 3 days at a time, where refusal wasn't an option, where saying no meant risking your safety, your paycheck, or maybe even your life. And when you piece it all together, the picture that emerges is terrifying. This wasn't just about hit records, branding, or fame. It was about control. An empire allegedly built not on music, but on fear.
And this is the flight where Diddy said to her,
showed her
she
the video,
testified
showed her
that
the freak-off video.
he showed her a video of a freak-off that she participated in and said, if you don't participate in another freak-off when we get to New York, I'm gonna put this video out. I'm gonna send it to your mother.
And that's coercion.
She testified
if it's true.
to that.
If the jury
they believed her,
yeah.
that's coercion.
That's
they would have Cassie.
The judge ruled detention is mandatory with a Mann Act conviction, and there was no, there was limited exceptions there. Why exactly is he not out on bail, I guess, in layman's terms?
Under the statute in federal court, when you're convicted of certain types of offenses, detention is automatic. The defendant in this particular case was already detained, so it's a heavy burden for their defense to show that, well, judge, he should be released despite the statute because these are the extraordinary and compelling circumstances that should allow his release and show that he's not a danger to community, he's not a flight risk, and he'll abide by all the terms and conditions of release. The judge apparently didn't think that the defense has met that burden, which is, as I said, a pretty high burden.
How big of a loss is this for the government? I mean, you're talking about major charges, racketeering, conspiracy. You have prosecuted these at this level, Joel. How big of a loss for them to put this case up and then for them to lose on the 3 most serious charges?
I don't like to say loss, wins and losses, because it's the system. The jury system spoke. I will say there's disappointments, and I'm sure the prosecution in this particular case is disappointed.